a minute. Let me just open a Word document in which I'll be writing some general rules and the stuff we're going to follow in all these sessions. All right. So I'm going to use this Word document in which we'll keep writing the important things, important points we have to remember throughout our training. Okay, so whatever important point we come across, whatever important point we have to remember from interview point of view, all those things I'll be noting it down here in this Word document, and we're going to refer to this document as our running notes. These notes will be shared with you at the end of each session. And here I'll be noting it down, what I feel like is important for you guys to remember. You guys can maintain your own notes. You can have your pen and paper, or you can have a notepad or a Word document open in your computer. So that is up to you if you want to maintain your own notes, right? But I'll be writing down the important points, and we're going to refer to this document as running notes. Okay, so first of all, you guys know that what topics are we going to cover. That was told to you in the orientation session, the brief overview of the topics which we are going to cover, that was given to you in our first session, the orientation session. Okay, so I'll just repeat those things once again so that you guys know what we are going to learn, what we are heading towards. Okay, so primarily, broadly, we can divide our training into two parts. The one can be said as the manual testing. The other can be considered as, or an other can be said as the automation testing. Manual testing is the part where we will be discussing how the things take place in a software company, the general processes which a software company follows, the general terminology which is followed in a software company. That is something we're going to cover under manual testing. Under manual testing, we'll be talking about the concepts such as the general QA processes, okay, under general QA processes, we'll be discussing the general terminology which is followed in software companies, what software companies do, what terminology do they use. So that is what we'll be discussing under manual testing. Then we'll talk about something called as Agile. Then we'll talk about a tool called as Jira. And under manual testing, we'll talk about database. Okay, so these are the things which will be part of our manual testing training. After that, we'll start with the automation testing, where we'll be talking about the topics such as we'll be discussing the programming language Java. We'll be talking about a tool called as Selenium. Okay, and Selenium will be discussing something called as TestNG. Okay, under automation testing, we'll be talking about GitHub. Jenkins, and finally Cucumber. Okay, so this is just an overview. I'm telling you that you know what main topics are we going to talk about. Okay, so the main categorization we can do is as manual and automation testing, and under manual and automation testing, there are various other topics we'll be discussing. And under Selenium, under GitHub, under Jenkins, there are so many things we're going to talk about. This is just an overview I'm giving you that you know the requirements are set here, the expectations are set here. Okay. So our first phase, you can say, is going to be considered of, it is going to consist of the manual testing part. So that is what we're going to start with today. Okay. And as you know, our sessions are going to be 1.5 hours long, Monday to Thursday. So these are the topics we're going to cover. So to cover all these topics, it will take approximately 4 months of time, right? So that is it. That is some general rules I wanted to tell you about. And now we'll start with our discussion. At any point of time, if you have any questions, you can type your questions in the chat box and you can clarify your doubt. Okay, you're most welcome to ask any questions. Okay, you can type your questions in the chat box. If you feel like your question is big, it needs more discussion, of course, you can unmute yourself and you can speak as well. By default, every one of you is in the muted mode, so as to keep all the background noises away in the recording. And that is it with the instructions I wanted to tell you about. And we'll start with our discussion. Let me just open my slides and we'll start. Give me a minute. Okay, so that is our very first slide we're going to see, manual testing. So what do we mean by the term manual testing? What is QA? All those things you're going to understand in this slide under manual testing. So first we'll talk about a term, software testing. What is software testing all about? Software testing deals with the verification of expected functionality of created software. Now we see a couple of terms here which we're seeing for the first time. It deals with the verification of expected functionality. Now, what does that mean, verification of expected functionality? We'll understand that with an example. The software companies, which we know which exist, primarily there are two teams, there are two departments in every software company. So let's say there is a software company called as ABC Softwares. It will have two departments. One is called as the dev department or developers, and one is called as QA or testers. Just a minute, guys. So there are two departments. One is called as dev department and one is called as the QA department. Dev department or developers are the people who create the software. They are the creators of the software. And QA department or the testers are the people who test the software which has been created by the developers. They test, does it work as per the expectations or not? Okay, so just like you pick up anything, whether you pick up a car or a mobile or any other electronic gadget which is being manufactured, First it is manufactured, then it is tested as well. Okay, so if it is a car, they test it. Does it start correctly? Does it clear the windscreen properly? Are the headlights working or not? After doing this basic testing, then the car is delivered to the customer. Okay, so then it comes out of the plant. If you talk about the mobiles, both mobiles are being manufactured, they're tested first, whether they're switching on, whether they're switching off, are they able to make a call? So all these testings have to be done before the product can be delivered to the client, to the customer. Because you never know when some software, when some product develop a problem. So we have to test it thoroughly before it is delivered to the client. So software testing deals with verification of expected functionality. Now, what do we mean by verification of expected functionality? We're going to talk about the work which is done by the QA team. Our target ultimately is when we have to enter in a software company, our target is going to be we have to enter in the QA team, not the development team. To enter into development team, there is more study we require, the competition is more. If you plan to go to QA team, the competition is easier and anyone can easily get into a software company through QA department, the testing department. Okay, so that is what our ultimate aim is going to be, that we have to enter into some software company in its QA department. So we're going to talk throughout our training that what a software testing team does in the software company. Okay, so that is what our primary focus is going to be. And that is what our first slide starts with. It says software testing deals with the verification of expected functionality of created software. So what a QA department does, software testing, they do. What do they do in that? They verify the expected functionality of a created software. Now, whenever softwares are created, they're created as per some requirements. Just like to run any business, first you understand what are the requirements of a client. Okay, if you're running a bakery, you will first understand the requirements of a client, such as what is the weight of a cake a customer requires. When the customer requires the cake to be ready. What is the flavor of the cake the customer wants. So a customer will give you the requirements that as a bakery owner, you're going to make that cake for the customer. Every customer will have different requirements. Similarly, in the software world also, there are customers, there are clients who specify that what are the requirements according to which they want the software to be ready. Who are these clients? We'll discuss that in our coming slides. But as of now, just know that softwares are made according to certain expectations, according to certain requirements. Developers take that document in which the software requirements are written as a reference document to know, okay, this is what we have to create. Software testers take that document again as a reference document to check whether what has been created, is it as per expectations or not. Okay, so whatever client said, are we delivering the same thing to the client or not? Okay, so when the cake is ready, as a bakery owner, you need to check, is it of the right weight? Are we delivering it on the time? Is it the right flavor the customer asked for? So before you dial the client that, okay, your cake is ready, you can come and pick it up, you need to make sure that all these three things are being satisfied. Similarly, before you hand over a software to the client, then you need to make sure that everything is working as per the expectations, as per the requirements given by the client. So software testing is just about verification of expected functionality of created software. Okay, now a question might arise in your mind. Are QA people some special people that they are testing the software which has been created by developers? No, QA people are not special people, just like we and you. They are the normal people with some normal understanding of the things around them. They are just going to follow some documents which have been created, that this is what is expected from a software. Okay, so you don't have to be a very skilled person to be a software tester. You don't have to have any special degree, or you don't have to have a background in computers. to work as a software tester. Anyone with any sort of background, they can work as a software tester. That is how easy it is. And the reason for that is everything will be given to you, that this is what is expected. You just have to verify, is that software working as per expectations or not? I'll give you one very simple example here. Every one of us use Facebook. Facebook is a big software. Okay, so you might be referring to that as a website. Facebook is a website, a login, and I see the photographs shared by my friends, and I share my photographs. So it is actually not a website. We can say it is a software. It's a very big, complex software. Okay, software is anything where some lines of code are written, some program is written. Okay, so to create the software, of course, millions of lines of code has been written. It is not a small software, it is not a small website. Okay, so when millions of lines of code has been written to us to give you customized experience, so we can say that, so Facebook also is a software. Okay, now when Facebook software has been created, let's say you're working in Facebook, you have been given a task that you have to check whether a user with valid credentials can log in or not. Okay? So user with valid credentials means a valid username, and right password if you enter. And if you click on login button, you have to check, are you able to log in or not? Now just see how easy it is. These are the kind of tasks you are going to have. So any one of you present in today's session also can test the login functionality of Facebook. So when I say login functionality, what do we mean by that? Functionality means anything what a software can do. One of the functionalities of this Facebook is I can log in into Facebook if I enter the valid username and password. The other functionality it has is I can create a new account if I don't have one. I can create a page for some celebrity. I can reset my account, okay, if I have forgotten my password. So functionality means anything what a software can do. So if we say login functionality means if I enter a valid username and a valid password, I have to check whether I'm able to log in or not. So any one of you, if I give you the task, you can do it today also. So what you will have to do, you will say, okay, I do it almost daily on a regular basis. I enter my username, I enter my password, I click on login. Then if I'm able to see my profile, I'll say, yes, the login functionality is working perfectly fine. But if in spite of entering the valid username and valid password, I'm not able to log in, then I will say the Facebook's login functionality is not working, right? That is how easy it is. So nothing big here. Softwares are created by developers. Okay, to create such a Facebook page, you need to know so many things. You need to know HTML, you need to know CSS, you need to know JavaScript, you need to know some backend language, some server programming, you need to know how to connect all the information to the database. You will need to know so many things before you can actually create such a page as a developer. But to test this page, you can do it today itself in your very first session. You don't need to have any special skill, right? Because these are very simple things. These are the things which we have already been using in our day-to-day work. We just have to verify that. Okay, you just have to document that. Yes, when I entered username and password, I clicked on login button, I was able to log in. You just have to write it in a proper format. That's what the software testing is about. Okay, so software testing deals with the verification of expected functionality. When you enter valid username and valid password in Facebook, what do you expect to happen? You expect to log in, you expect to see your profile, right? So that is what we are doing here. Similarly, every software which is created will have some expected functionality. Using WhatsApp, you can send a text message. Using WhatsApp, you can make a video call, you can make a voice call, you can send a voice note. Okay, so many different things you can do with with WhatsApp. So these are all the functionalities of WhatsApp. So if you're given the task to verify that, are you actually able to do it or not? It's very simple. So you say, okay, if I want to verify whether whether WhatsApp's calling functionality is working or not, I'll just call someone or talk to someone and verify that, yes, when I dialed someone's number, I was able to make a call. Similarly, you can verify the video call functionality of WhatsApp by actually making a video call to someone and checking, yes, that yes, when I actually called someone, the voice was very clear. I was able to, the video was very clear. I was able to talk to that person. So that is where you can verify the expected functionality of WhatsApp. Okay, so that is what you will be doing in software testing. Software can be now a desktop application or a web application or a mobile application. Softwares can be categorized very broadly into three types of softwares. What are those? The first one is desktop applications. Desktop applications. Now, application is a new word we are seeing here. Application is another word for software. Desktop application means a software which is installed in your computer, and after that, it doesn't need any internet connection for its working. For example, if I use calculator, right, the calculator installed in my computer, I can use it without having any internet connection as well. So this is a desktop application. Once installed, no internet connection is needed to test it or to use it. Then you have web applications. Web applications, as the name signifies, they need internet connection for their working. Okay? For example, whether we talk about Facebook or Gmail or YouTube, all these are the applications which need internet connection for their working. If internet is not there, you cannot use Facebook, you cannot use YouTube, or you cannot use your Gmail. Now, you can say we have been referring to these terms, all these items as websites. I call Facebook as a website, YouTube is a website, Gmail is a website. That's a layman's terminology. That is an easier way of referring to the things, that it is a website. But the right terminology for Facebook, Gmail, YouTube is web application, right? But it is, since it is easier to say, it is a website. So that is a general terminology we use, that this is a website. And the third types of applications are mobile applications. Mobile applications are the applications which are installed in your mobile. You open them in your mobile. So you have Instagram in your mobile, you have WhatsApp in your mobile, you have Facebook in your mobile. All these are the mobile applications. Web applications are those applications which you access through your computer. You need a browser to open them. But to open mobile applications, you don't need a browser. You can directly open Instagram, you can directly open Facebook or WhatsApp in your mobile. There is no browser needed to open those applications. So those are specifically created for mobiles, and those are called as mobile applications. Okay, so softwares can be broadly categorized into desktop, web, or mobile applications. Most of the software companies are involved in developing web applications and mobile applications. Companies who are creating software desktop applications, they are lesser in number. Most of the companies are either creating a web application or mobile application. So you can expect that you're going to join a software company in future, which is developing either a web application or who is creating a mobile application. So that is what you can expect your software company, your future software company, to be doing. So are you guys clear so far? Whatever terms and topics we have talked about, is it clear to everyone? All right. Okay, there's a question here. The web applications are openable in mobile too. So what we can call them. The web applications we are talking about, you can open them using the browser of your mobile. You can open a Chrome browser in your mobile, and in mobile also, you can open a Facebook, you can open your Facebook account, or you can open your Gmail account, right? That is what you can do that. Okay. So since you're opening it through a browser, still it will be referred to as a web application only. Okay. A mobile application is specifically the app which you download from the app store of your mobile. Web applications are those applications which you open using the browser of either your computer or the mobile. Generally, there will be very few people who will be using the browser of the mobile. Generally, everyone uses the app. So the term web application refers to the applications being opened through a computer. But the same definition can be applied if you're opening that same website using the browser of your mobile also. So this question, which application has much demand in the current market? Web applications and mobile applications are the applications which are equally in demand in the market. Okay, so web applications are the applications which companies started created back in 1980s. Mobile applications are the recent kind of applications after iPhone and Android phones came into picture after 2007. Okay, so mobile applications is a recent trend. Web applications is an old trend. So companies maintain both these scenarios. Some people would like to prefer, some organizations would like their customers to use both kind of applications, because there are equal people who would prefer to use a website or an application through their computer, and there will be equivalent people who are trying to access the same application through the mobile device. Okay, so now it is up to the customer which device do they want to use. So companies maintain both a web application accessible through a computer and a mobile application which can be downloaded from the app store of the mobile. So this question, but that web browser are too designed for mobile. Teacher, not. Yeah, that is what. So the point is the browser. So whether the browser is designed for a mobile or the browser is designed for the computer, the browser is the common element, right? So if someone is using to access Facebook to open the browser, okay. Now, if I use my computer, then the process is, you know how we do that. I'll open the browser, I'll type facebook.com in the URL and then enter username and password. I click on the login button. Now, the process is same if I open the browser of my mobile also. In the browser of the mobile, again, I'll have to type facebook.com. I'll have to enter username and password and click on login button. But if I use the Facebook app in my mobile, then I don't have to type facebook.com. Okay, so it will directly take me to my account. I don't even have to enter the username and password. Okay, only first time I'll have to do it. But every time I don't have to type facebook.com anywhere. I'll just tap on the Facebook icon and it'll take me to the website, to that application. Okay, so how you access the applications using a browser and a mobile app, they are different. The processes are different. Okay, so if you're using a browser, whether that is a mobile device or a computer, the process is same. So since the process is same, the behavior is same. So that is why we say these are the web applications. And mobile applications are specifically those applications which you download from your app store. Right? Okay. So let's move on to the next slide after this. Next is we're going to use the term AUT. That's a first technical term you're going to see in your training session. AUT. AUT stands for application under test. So when you are working in, let's say, Amazon, and someone asks you, what is your AUT? Application under test. So you can say, my AUT is Amazon e-commerce website. Okay. Amazon has various different businesses. Okay. So Amazon has e-commerce website, which we use. Amazon has something called as AWS. That is another department they can have, you can say, or another business they have. Amazon Web Services, which is for the business entities or for the software companies. So they have another subsidiary called as AWS. Okay. So if someone asks you that what is your AUT, you can say my AUT is Amazon e-commerce website. If you're working in the e-commerce side. Okay, if you're working in the AWS department, you can say my AUT is AWS. My application under test is AWS. It just simply refers to the application which you are testing. Okay, so the first AUT I showed you was Facebook. Okay, so if we are understanding, if we are learning how to test Facebook, then we will say my AUT is Facebook. My application under test is Facebook. So AUT must be defect-free and should work as expected. That is the ultimate aim of testing. What is that? It must be defect-free. Defect means what? Since the softwares are being written by humans, there is a probability that the humans commit some mistake. They might not be able to create a perfect software. Okay, but our aim is to deliver a perfect software. Developers will create something. Testers will test whether it is working as per expectations or not. The responsibility of the QA team or testing team is to find out the problems with the software, the things which are not working in the software, the things which do not work in a software as per expectations, that is called as a defect. Okay, so just take the example of WhatsApp. Let's say WhatsApp introduces a new feature that you can call someone. Okay, so when they introduced this new feature, it was not there right from the beginning. When they introduce a new feature to call someone, so you downloaded WhatsApp, you try to call someone, you get an error. You are not able to call someone. So that is a defect in WhatsApp. Okay, it gives you some error that call cannot be established, or it says your phone is not ready to make a call or something. You get an error message on your WhatsApp screen. That means there is a defect in WhatsApp. You are not able to call someone. Okay, so what the software is expected to do, but it does not do, that is a defect in the software. Again, if you take the Facebook example, you want to log in into Facebook, you enter your username, you enter your password, you click on login button, but Facebook says server is busy, you cannot log in. Okay, or it says this account is not allowed. Okay, so you get some error message. So that is a defect in the software. If you're entering your username, right username and right password, you should be able to log in. But still, if you get some error message, any error message, despite of entering the valid username and password, so that is a defect in login functionality of Facebook. Okay, so defect just simply means a problem with the software. As a tester, our aim is to find out those defects in the software, what developers have created. Okay, and when the developers create a software, there are so many defects. You will find there are so many defects in the software. Slowly, you remove those defects. You tell it to the developer that while testing the software, I found this problem. There is a defect in this software. So that is called as defect free. Okay, there must not be any error in the software. This question to find defect is called AUT? No. No. Finding the defect is not called as AUT. You find a defect in AUT. Okay. So the process of finding the defect is what you call as testing activity. So testing means finding the defects. In application under test. That is what testing is about. Right? Finding the problem in the software, what is not working in the software. So AUT must be defect free and should work as expected. Right? So ideally, the software which is created, it should work as per the specification as per requirements given by the client. Okay, we'll again take the bakery example. You're running a bakery. The client has given some requirements to you. So when you're ready to deliver the cake, it must be as per the expectations given by the client. You cannot say, okay, you said 5 kg cake, but we made it a 6 kg cake, but the cost has risen because of that. Client will say, no, I did not say 6 kg cake. I want 5 kg cake only. Why did you make it as 6 kg? So you said we had more material, so we thought let us add it to your order. You cannot say that. Okay. So whatever the expectations of the client are, we have to work according to that. That is how the businesses work around the globe. So whatever business it is, whether that is a software business or a bakery business, you have to give the client what he wants. So it should work, the software should work as expected, as given by as per the requirements given by the client. Right. So ultimate aim of testing is AUT must be defect free and should work as expected. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is how the process starts. How does a software company starts making the software? So the process starts with a meeting between the business people and business analysts at a swanky hotel. Now, let's try to understand this process. How a software company starts making softwares. Um, Guys, before we discuss about that, let us have a 10 minutes of break. Okay, so then we will come back and resume our discussion. Okay, so see you after.
Okay, let's start the lecture.
Okay, guys, so let's resume our discussion once again. I hope you guys are back. Okay, so we were going to discuss how the process of software development starts in a company. How does a software company starts working on a software? That is what we're going to talk about. So just like there are customers and there is a bakery owner who makes the cake. Similarly, in software world also you have customers. How do you have customers? Who are the customers? Let us talk about them. See, software companies can be categorized into two types. The first one is these are the companies which you call as uh, product-based software companies. And there are other kinds of software companies which are called as service-based software companies. So what is the difference between these two? Product-based software companies are those companies who have their own product and they sell it directly to the customers. For example, Apple, Google, Microsoft. Facebook. All these are product-based software companies. These are the very popular companies which we know because these are the companies which directly deal with us. Okay, so you want to buy a product, Apple product, so you can directly buy it from Apple. There is no other company in between you and the Apple. Similarly, we use Google products, we use Microsoft products, we use Facebook. Okay, so Facebook has been created for us direct end users. And then there are service-based companies which do not sell their product directly to the end users. What they instead do is they create the softwares for some other companies. Okay, so why would a software company create a software for some other company? Just take an example here. Okay, so let's say there is this HSBC Bank. Now, this bank, their expertise is in money, their expertise is in finance. They're not the people who can create the softwares. Now, if they want a net banking application for their customers to be created, how will they create a net banking application? Then they are going to reach out to some service-based company so that a software company can make a net banking application for a bank. Okay, so these service-based companies there are various of service-based companies such as Accenture. There is Infosys. Okay, there is Cognizant. Okay, there is Wipro. There is Mindtree. Okay, there are so many service-based software companies. Their only work is they create softwares for other companies such as banks, airlines, hotels, because their core expertise is not softwares. Okay, so banks, airlines, hotels, their core expertise in their respective businesses, but definitely not softwares. So if those companies want to get a software created for them, they would reach out to one of these software companies. Now, these software companies are less heard of. Okay, you might have never heard about these companies, Accenture, Infosys, Cognizant. You might be seeing their names for the first time, or you might have a friend or two who are working in these companies, but these are lesser known companies. Okay, but most commonly or famous companies are these product-based companies because they directly deal with us. We are the end users of the products which are created by the product-based companies. Service-based companies, since they don't create anything directly for us, they create the softwares for some other companies. That is why they're lesser known. So there are two kinds of companies, product-based companies and easier to get into a service-based company rather than a product-based company. Okay, so product-based company is little tough to get into. Their selection criteria is hard and they're lesser in number. Service-based company, it is easier to get into these software companies. Their selection criteria is easy and they are many in number. Okay, even though you might not have heard about them, but there are so many service-based companies out there. And in fact, most of the software companies we talk about are service-based companies. There are lesser product-based companies. So our goal ultimately is going to join some service-based company to start our software career. Later on, you can move into a product-based software company as well. Okay, so when you get 2, 3 years, 4 years of experience, you can plan to move into a product-based company. That is how you can plan your migration to a product-based company. But to begin with, it is always advisable that you start with a service-based company. You get a very good exposure to softwares and you understand how to work with softwares very easily, very quickly in service-based companies. Okay, so that is what our aim is going to be, ultimately to get into a service-based company. So all the discussion which we're going to have is going to be with respect to a service-based company. What processes a service-based company follows, all those things are going to be part of our discussion. Okay, there's a question here. What about those companies letting you to use its software and sell you the logins and the change they use as per your requirements, like Salesforce in US? Yeah, Salesforce is a product-based company. Salesforce is a company which has created their own product, and then they have sold that product as a risk to other software companies. So they have created their own product. So Salesforce also is a product-based company. Okay. So if you're running a business, I can give you one example here. If you're running, let's say, a photography studio, okay, you undertake the projects of uh, pre-wedding shoots, wedding shoots. So there are big photo companies, okay, so there are big players who use this Salesforce softwares as well. Okay, so they are directly selling it to the customers also. Okay, so if you're not into that business, of course, you will not be using Salesforce as such. But yes, if you're running a business in which you can use their software product, then you can buy a Salesforce product, they use it to manage their customers. So Salesforce also is a product-based company. Okay, so since I told you our target is going to be some service-based company, so let us talk about how a service-based company works. How a software company bags a project. So we'll take the same example, HSBC. Floats a tender that I want to have a net banking application ready for my customers within 1 year. This is their requirement, the major requirement they have. Okay, a net banking application to be ready in 1 year. Now, various different companies will apply for that. Just like you apply for a job, there are various candidates who apply for the same job. Similarly, there are various software companies, service-based software companies who will apply for this project because they're going to be in millions of dollars. They're going to earn millions of dollars from this product they're going to create, this software they're going to create. So there are so many companies in line who would like to back this project. Okay, so there will be these Accenture, Infosys, TCS, Wipro. All these companies will be in line to get this software, to get this project. Okay, now based on the selection criteria of the management of HSBC, some software company is going to get the project. Okay, so whichever company's terms are more suitable to HSBC, okay, whichever from cost point of view, whichever company is suitable to HSBC, that company will be selected. Let's say HSBC gives the project to Infosys. Now, the very first thing Infosys needs to know is before they start creating the software, the very first thing Infosys needs to know is what exactly HSBC wants from the final product, which is ready after 1 year. Okay, so just like a customer walks into your shop and he first inquires, do you make cakes? You say yes. So once you agree that yes, you make cakes in your bakery, then the next requirement, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to understand the client's requirement, what kind of cake he wants, when does he want it, what is the flavor he wants. Okay, so does he want some special type of decoration on the cake? Is it a theme based cake? So you're going to understand the requirements of the client. Similarly, once you get the project, then you're going to get the requirements, you're going to understand the requirements of a client. So this is the first stage. After a software company gets the project, we call it as requirement gathering phase. In this first phase, you're going to understand as a software company, you're going to understand what exactly the client wants, what all things, what all features and functionalities are required by the client. So how is it going to happen? This is going to happen generally in a five-star hotel. This meeting will not happen in some office. This meeting between the client here is this HSBC, and Infosys, which is the software company. So this meeting happens between the client and the software company, generally in five-star hotels, not in a typical office setup. So that is why these hotels also have conference rooms where all these conferences happen, where they discuss what the final product. Okay, and this cost is borne by the software company. The client is not going to pay for that. HSBC is the client. Okay, so some representatives from HSBC are going to come and explain what do they want from the software. So when we say HSBC is the client, who is going to come from the HSBC? Okay, not entire HSBC company is going to come, of course. So there are going to be some representatives of the client from HSBC side, which are going to come and meet the representatives of Infosys company. Okay, the software company we are taking, for example. Now, the representatives of HSBC, they're also called as business people, or client. Or the other term we use it is customers. The representatives of the Infosys company, they're called as business analysts. Okay, so business analysts from the Infosys side, they're going to come and understand what the business or the client people want, right? So there are software developers we have talked about, there are software testers we have talked about. Now we're talking about third type of people in a software company called as business analysts. What do? They analyze the business, they understand the requirements, what client wants from the final software which is ready. Okay, so a meeting happens between the business and the business analysts in a swanky hotel, in a five-star hotel, where they understand the requirements. So this meeting can last for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where the only work they're going to do is gather all the requirements and note them down as per the requirements of the client, what exactly the client wants, right? So that is how the work starts in a software company. You're going to get a project, then after getting the project, the software company will understand requirements of the client. Then what happens next, we'll talk about that as well. But before we talk about the next steps, we'll understand a few terms here. The first term we're going to talk about is quality assurance. So what is quality and what is assurance? Let us understand these terms one by one. Quality means meeting the customer's expectations. That means error-free software. Giving a good quality product to the client means giving the product as expected by the client. And what are the expectations of the client? Every client will want that their software is an error-free software. It doesn't contain any problems. It is working as per expectations. Okay, so that is what we refer to as quality of a software. A good quality software will have zero errors in it. A bad quality software will be full of errors. Okay, you try to do something else, it does something else. So that is a bad quality software. What is assurance? Assurance is given by the management. The software will work as per customers' expectations. So before the software is made, before we start making the software, before the software company gets the project, when you are bidding for the software project, how do you bid for the project? How do the software companies get the project? Okay, software companies, they explain their side that, okay, so if we as a software company get the project, then we have all the developers who are Microsoft certified. We have all the testers who are Amazon Web Services certified, or we have Google certified, or we have Microsoft certified testers. So by giving this assurance to the client, you are making an image in the client's mind that if this project is given to this Infosys company or some other company whose developers are Microsoft certified, they're going to give a software project to the right set of people. They are the people who know their work. They're going to give a good quality software. So it is just an assurance you're giving to the client before even the work is started that the software will work as per customers' expectations. And it will only work as per customer expectations if you have good developers in your software company. Okay. If you have good developers, then only they will be able to create a good software. So how do you tell that all our software developers are very good? Okay, you can say some other company has certified our developers. Microsoft has certified our developers that they're good software, they're good and excellent software developers, or Google has certified our developers, or AWS has certified our developers. So that is how you give assurance to the client. There's a question here. Is there a difference between bug, defect, and errors? Yes. We'll talk about these terms. Okay, so all these terms we're going to discuss in our slides. Okay, so we're just moving in that direction. But yes, there is a difference between defect, bug, and error. Quality assurance is proactive in nature. Proactive in nature means something you do before something happens. Okay, so you take care of your health, you exercise regularly, you are proactive in nature. So before you get some disease, you do exercise. So you're proactive in nature. But if you start doing exercise after you get some disease, then you're reactive in nature. So you prevent a disease to occur, to affect your body. Before that disease occurs in your body, you start doing exercise, you're taking care of your health, you're proactive in nature. Similarly, before a defect appears in the software, we are establishing those set of rules that if we follow those set of rules, the defect will not appear. That is what we refer to as it is proactive nature. Quality assurance is proactive in nature because quality assurance talks about processes. If we follow the right processes, our software will be a perfect software without any errors, without any problems. What kind of processes do you set up in a software company? If you make it mandatory that all our software people, software developers have to be Microsoft certified, this is one of the rules you're setting, then it will decrease the number of defects. Because if someone has to be Microsoft certified, they need to study. So if they study, they will know their work. So if people know their work, they're going to create better softwares. Okay, so if a software company makes it mandatory that everyone has to get Microsoft certification, automatically you are improvising the processes followed in a software company. Okay, if you make it mandatory that all the testers have to be IS2QB, ISTQB certified. So it is an international organization which gives you the certification for testing. So for testing people. So developers have their own certifications, testers have their own certifications. So if you have to get ISTQB certification, you need to study for it. If you study, then only you're going to get a certification. So if you study well, if you know this stuff, then only you're going to get a certificate. And when you work in an organization after getting the certificate, the organization will know that, okay, so you have the certificate with you. That means you know your software work, you know how the things work in a software company. You know that developers should be Microsoft certified and the testers should be ISTQB certified, you are improvising the processes in the software company. You are proactive in nature. Okay, so if you hire these people who are ISTQB or Microsoft certified, you're hiring good people in your company. Of course, you will have to pay more to them. Okay, so good quality needs more money to pay to the employees, but by doing so, ultimately, you're going to run a good business. If you hire substandard software developers or substandard QA automation testers, then ultimately you're going to suffer in the quality. You might be paying less to them, but ultimately, as a software company, you'll be paying less to them. So if you want to set up some standards, then you will be paying more to the software employees, but you'll be making sure that the software is error-free. Software is a perfect software being delivered to the client. Developers are also good developers. Testers also are good testers. They are good in defining the defects. Software developers are making good softwares. They're good in making good softwares. So quality assurance is a process which is proactive in nature. You establish the processes. Main aim of quality assurance is to prevent defects from occurring. Okay, so your main aim is in quality assurance that the softwares do not occur at first place, right? That is what is the main aim of QA is. And this process is known as QA, quality assurance. And then we use a term after quality assurance, we use a term called as quality control. So what is this term? So we have to understand this term. These are the questions which are also asked in the interviews. What is the difference between quality assurance and quality control? And that is why we are also discussing this term. Let's talk about quality control. So first we talked about quality assurance. Quality, we know, delivering an error-free software, delivering the software as per expectations of the client. Now, what does the word control refer here? Control means to compare actual results with expected results. Once the software is ready, you're going to test the software, you're going to compare what was expected from the software and what we are actually getting from the software. So when you compare that, so this process is called as quality control. And it is known as QC. It is reactive in nature. Reactive in nature means this is something you do after the software is ready. Proactive in nature means quality assurance is proactive in nature, means it is done before the software is made. Quality control is reactive in nature. This is done after the software is ready. It deals with detection of defects. Well, the main aim of quality control is to find out defects which exist in a software. Okay. Now, no matter how good your software developers are, but ultimately at the end, they are humans. They can commit some mistakes. Okay, so we consider Google, Apple to be perfect companies, but they also have defects in their softwares. That is why they release updates in their softwares, right? So no matter how good your software developers are, still you will have problems in your softwares. So when you have problems in your softwares, you need to find people to find those problems because they will not be very clearly visible. You have to properly, thoroughly test the software so as to find the defects with the software. So quality control deals with the detection of defects. And of course, it comes after quality assurance. Quality assurance comes first. You set up the standards first, and then comes the quality control. The software is ready, then you test the software to check if it is actually working as per expectations or not. So that is what quality control is. So what is the difference between quality assurance and quality control? Let us review it. Quality assurance aims to prevent the defect. By still establishing the standards, you are making sure that you are minimizing the occurrence of a defect. On the other side, quality control refers to, it is the aim of quality control is to identify the defect. Okay, once the software has been made, we have to identify the defect which exists in the software, because as I told you, no matter who created software, ultimately a software will have the defects. There is no software which is perfect software which works without any errors. All the softwares have errors. So if all the softwares have error, we have to find it. We can just minimize the occurrence of defects. We can make them lesser, but we cannot completely remove the errors from a software, defects from the software. Okay. So that is why quality assurance aim is to prevent the defect. Of course, we cannot 100% achieve it, but we can still minimize the number of defects which occur in a software. Second point is, it is managing the quality. Quality assurance is about managing quality of the software. Quality control, on the other side, it is a method to verify quality of the software. Verify quality means what has been created, you are verifying, you're comparing it to what was expected from the software. QA does not involve execution of the program. Program means the software. Execution of program means QA does not involve running the software, whereas quality control involves execution of program. Execution of program means running the software. Now, what does that mean? Again, if you take the Facebook example, okay, Facebook hiring good developers and good testers is the process they are trying to implement, quality assurance they are trying to implement so that a good software can be created. Okay, but it doesn't mean they are testing the software as well, which has been created. It is just some standard being set. Quality controls means once the software is ready, actually entering a valid username in the username field, actually entering some password in the password field, and clicking on login button. So you actually use the software, you actually work with the softwares. That is called as quality control, or we say we are executing the program. Executing the program simply means actually using the software which has been made, which has been built. That is called as executing the program. So quality control involves execution of the program. That means in reality, checking and working with the software. But quality assurance doesn't talk about execution of the execution of the program. Fourth point is all teams are responsible for QA. All teams means business analysts, developers, testing team people, all are responsible for QA, quality assurance. Okay, all the people have to be good at their work. Business analysts, they have to understand the requirements properly. After they understand the requirements, they forward those requirements to software developers. Then software developers have to work efficiently so that they create good quality software. After they create a software, then we need to have good quality testers, good software testers, so that they can check the softwares if it contains error or not. And if it contains error, which definitely is going to be there, they should be able to figure it out what exactly is the problem with the software. What defect do we have with the software? So all the teams are ultimately responsible for giving a good quality software. If business analysts are not good, they're not able to understand the requirements, then we are not forwarding all the requirements to the software developers, then software developers will not be able to create a good quality software, and testers, of course, will not be able to test the software as given by the requirements by the client. Okay, because at the first stage itself, business analysts did not do their work properly. On the other side, if business analysts are good at their work, but the developers which we have in the software company, they are not good at their work. They're not able to create the software which is expected by the client. Then also we will not be able to make a good quality software, no matter how good the business analysts or QA people you have. Okay. Similarly, if your business analysts are good, your developers are good, but your QA people are not good, they are not up to the mark, then they will not be able to find defects with the software, and then those defects will reach to the client once you hand over the software to the client, and then client will be coming back with a complaint that this is the problem I found with the software. Okay, so all the teams have to be good at their work, then only we can aim to deliver a good quality software. On the other side, testing team is responsible for QC. only the testing team is responsible for testing the software, what we call as the quality control process. It is a planning, the software quality assurance is a planning for doing a process. Okay, so you plan, how am I going to do this? You plan, how am I going to spend my holidays? You plan, how am I going to spend my day in the office? This is the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to have a meeting with all the teammates. Then I'm going to start working on my work, and then I'm going to come back at 4 p.m. and then I'm going to go to the gym. So you plan your day. Okay, so actual execution will happen on that particular day, but first you plan that this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Okay, so it is planning for doing a process, setting up the standards. Quality control is, it is the action you take for executing the planned process. Okay, so next day when you actually start doing the same thing, you actually attend the meeting, you actually leave the office after work at 4 p.m. If you actually go to the gym, then we say this is the quality control process you are following. Okay, actually performing the steps which you planned. So there's a question here. So can we say that QA is such as a management role and framework of the production process? Yes, that is how we can say it. Quality assurance is about the management of the overall project. But when you join in a software company, you will not be called as a QC, though the work you will be doing is what is mentioned in quality control, but your job designation is going to be called as QA, quality analyst. Okay, so your job is going to be, the designation is going to be quality analyst. But we have talked about a term QA, which is quality assurance. Both are different terms. Okay, so we have talked about quality assurance. Both of them have short form as QA. So don't get confused between the first QA and second QA. The first QA is what you will be joining as. The second QA is the processes, quality assurance. So these questions, testers work on both QA and QC. Yes, so testers are going to work both in QA and QC. QA is just a process, right? QC is the actual work you will be doing. So as we discussed in point number 4, all teams are responsible for QA. Okay, so you're also part of the software team. So you are part of the QA process, whether you work in development team or testing team. Okay, but the work you will be doing, that is going to correspond to the work we have described in quality control. Your job designation is going to be quality analyst. QA, that also is going to be called as QA. So until this point, is it clear to everyone? All right. Okay, so let's just quickly review what we did. From this point onwards, we will continue tomorrow, not today. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start with a new discussion here. So what we started with today, we started with discussing what software testing is about. What do we mean by functionality? What are the different types of application, desktop, web application, and mobile application? Then we talked about the term AUT, application under test. Then we talked about how the process starts in a software company. How does a software company gets a project? In that, we discussed that there are two types of companies: product-based companies and service-based companies. Okay, product-based companies are companies which create their own product and sell it to the end customers. Service-based companies are the companies which create softwares for other companies like Accenture, Infosys, TCS, Cognizant, Wipro. These are service-based companies. And we took an example that HSBC wants to give a project to Infosys. So HSBC is the client and Infosys is going to be the software company. So that's the example we took. And then we talked about the difference between quality assurance and quality control. I'll put the screenshot of this in your running notes. And as I told you in the very beginning, that whatever important point we come across, we'll be putting it down here in the running notes. So I'm going to write it here. So we'll put today's date, 25th July. So this is the answer, the difference between QA and QC. That's it. So I'll just share this sheet with the representative from Algosoft, and then you will get it from them. Just a minute. Okay, meanwhile, there's a question, are QA and QC both processes? Yes. QA and QC, ultimately both are processes, what you do. Okay, so but QA is just what you plan what you do. QC is the actual implementation of that. But ultimately, they both are processes. Okay, guys. So that is it for today. That is where we'll be winding up for today. The running notes have been shared with the representative from Microsoft. You will get it from there. And we'll wind up here. See you tomorrow. Till then, goodbye and good night.